Rad 2.0. Making sense?
On June 20th, 2021, in the middle of the night, cops were called to Apodaca Park in Las Cruces, New Mexico, to claims of a man playing soccer with a head. It was a shock to the police on the scene as they not only found the headless body and a missing middle finger on his right hand.
See how small that knife was? It's literally this big. Dude, he had to be gnawing at that thing for a while, though. Spines, dude, are fucking tough. Toss the head and then drag the body.
We have a decapitated person at Apodaca Park. Affirmative.
See that black spot? Yeah.
Oh, Cabeza.
Well, okay.
It was also disturbingly reported that the head was not only kicked around on the field, it was kicked against cars. The headless body belonged to a 51-year-old man named James Garcia, and the murderer's name was Joel Arciniega Sainz. Joel was found all bloody and was arrested immediately that night and brought to a nearby police station to be questioned. Now, while James was being arrested, he was oddly calm about the whole thing, and his cold dead eyes were truly unsettling to see in the footage. Now, the following day, Joel was interrogated and at first tried playing dumb and acting like he couldn't remember why he killed James.
Do you remember why you're here? Do you have any questions about what happened or how you got here?
For a while in the footage, he just sits there as the cops keep asking him questions about the night. Eventually, he does give in to one of their questions. Then he supposedly knew that the man that he killed. The cops then asked the following question, that Joel supposedly had a romantic relationship with him or not. This completely angered Joel and stated that he's not gay and has a wife.
Were you guys in some kind of lover's quarrel? No? Like, because he's your boyfriend, you guys got in an argument? That's just what I'm getting. I'm not calling you gay. Yeah, I'm not judging you. You're married?
Yeah.
Are you married to James?
Are you trying to want to fight me?
I don't want to fight you.
Don't call me gay.
I'm not calling you gay.
I'll beat the shit out of you. I'll beat the shit out of you.
The cops most likely did this as only a month prior to the murder, Joel was arrested in Las Cruces police for damaging local businesses by the name of Beck's Roasting House and Creamery for damaged equipment and property of the restaurant, causing damages that almost added up at $7,000. One of the damages being a sentence written or in permanent Sharpie on one of the counters that read out with a very homophobic remark. So the police most likely used this to invoke a reaction to get him talking. He was also then arrested for vandalism for that crime and bailed with unsecured bond for $2,000. Later in the video, Joel gives a story that he, his wife, and the same man he killed were all homeless. At one point, the same man raped his wife 4 years before in the same park when he was killed. 2 days before the murder, the same man also came back to them and robbed them of their possessions at gunpoint. That's when then Joel grabbed the gun away from James. James then tried grabbing his knife out of his pocket, but Joel stopped him and grabbed the knife. Joel proceeded to stab him 7 times in the chest before completely removing his head and his finger and killing him.
And what else did you do? Okay. Because you had your bags. What knife did you use? He had it?
Yeah, I pulled it off.
You pulled off of him?
He also missed playing soccer with the man's head, stating that people in cars were passing by watching him as he did it, eventually leading to the calls. Later that month, Joel's court hearing was delayed for the first week of the following month on July 6th due to health problems according to the case detail. And this is the very last thing public about the case outside an article. During Tuesday's pre-trial detention hearing, Arciniega Sainz's defense attorney argued that his client should be released. Attorney Stephen Lane said that his client had never been convicted of a crime. The following statements made in this article addresses what the police found, and claims made against Joel were not properly presented, as they did not provide proof of him kicking the head around at the cars, as there was no blood presented on his shoes. The reason I raised this with the court is that my client reporting to the officer does not line up with the objective evidence, Lane said. This makes a little sense, as there's not only footage of the crime showing only him present at the scene of the crime until officers arrived, he had also passed charges of murder back in 2017 after getting into an argument that led to shots being fired at his 21-year-old and his girlfriend outside of a motel. The bullets hit and killed the 21-year-old, and Joel was charged with first-degree murder, though the charges were dropped later that year for reasons at the moment I find unknown. He also admits in the interrogation tapes that he still murdered someone, though Joel's attorney demanded him not guilty for reasons we just discussed. The attorney also added on, according to the PSA Public Safety Assessment, that checks for past crimes of suspects saw Joel as likely to return to the future court dates and suggested that Arseniy Yagasians would be released. Which, if we use our brains here, he's highly dangerous and should not be at all. Thank God the judge said no to that and stated that would be too dangerous for the community in the area. Because, you know, he cut a guy's fucking head off. If we follow his case details, it shows that he pleaded not guilty on the 7th. Everything else in this case can be found is completely sealed and not made public from that date all the way up until recently. The last being documented with a motion hearing on the 8th of August 2023, only last month as of recording. Now, according to KRQE News, they announced that he will remain behind bars at Dona Ana County until he has his actual trial. And if we look up the county, we can look at their prisoners list, and we can actually see that he's still there to this date, seeing his mugshot with those cold dead eyes that honestly creep me the hell out. And hopefully he remains behind bars for the rest of his life. Now, as for James, not much is known right now about him, other than his unfortunate passing and being taken away from his family of 3 kids and wife at that one fateful night. But one thing still bothers me about the case that I haven't seen anyone else really bring up or even been publicly being discussed. The story that Joel gave doesn't really add up. Why would he stay friends with a man that allegedly raped his wife? Did he find out that night and that's why he killed him outside of being robbed as well? Why would a man with a family of 3 and have a wife be homeless, be hanging out with Joel and Joel's wife, instead of taking care of his family if they were homeless or trying to look for a job? That's even if he was homeless. And who and where is Joel's wife? Not once was she ever brought up publicly, nor brought up in any form of the case files or news documentations as a witness outside of the alleged incident involving James and her. Literally nothing can be found of her, and she's one of the most important pieces to this disturbing puzzle. Do you think Joel made up all of this as a cheap ploy to reduce his charges, or that it actually did happen and the murder was revenge for his wife? Let me know in the comments down below. The YouTuber FouseyTube is pretty much a household name amongst the commentary and prank communities. He's very well known for his pranks and social experiments he would do. Many of them are fake and have plain bad taste in their choice of pranks. FouseyTube is also no stranger to controversy, such as his failed festival lying about featuring Drake, having a mental breakdown when the YouTuber Keemstar showed up, and having his event end with a bomb threat. He then disappeared from the internet after those events until recently returning with a subathon on his Twitch account, where he would stream for hours and hours to his viewers. And they're pretty interesting.
So I said, fuck YouTube, I'm going to kick. It's all part of my plan. Fuck YouTube. Ah!
But there is one that I would like to focus on in this story, as it shows his descent into madness and signs of heavily unchecked mental health problems. This is from a now deleted stream of his from an airport, walking in and finding a woman at a bar sitting by herself, already pretty intoxicated after a few drinks. He takes the opportunity to use her as content. Now, this interaction starts off with them just conversing, and Fousey occasionally responding to donations. But if we stop at the point when he asks when her flight is, she answers and then states that she should come to LA with him and have fun.
Oh my god. What time's your flight? I go to Burlington.
Come to LA instead.
I wish.
You'd have hella fun. You're cute. You'd have hella.
I wish. That'd be fun. I went.
Marking the beginning of him flirting and taking advantage of her. Later in the stream, he then asks for her social media, stating that he wants to be friends with her. When we skip on further throughout the stream, we see them kissing, marking a further point of descent into what makes this whole story disturbing. When other people leave, Fuzi comments that her friends are leaving for a flight at 9:20.
Respect. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You're hustling for your kids, that deserves respect.
Right now, my suitcase. This bag is half full.
Your friends are leaving, by the way. Is that okay?
Oh yeah, they're cool.
You'll get to them? They said you're boarding at 9:20.
So.
It's 8:40.
No.
I could tell you when it's time.
No, they don't know where I'm going.
Oh, you're not going with them?
No.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Vermont.
Oh, for your kids.
Yeah.
Where are they going?
They're going to Florida.
With Fuzi now knowing this, it gives him more time to build on getting to know her and asking for another kiss, and not long after, he asks for another and sends it to his Discord server.
Kiss them off?
Yeah.
They've been mean to me this weekend. Give me a kiss, please. Thank you.
It's honestly creepy and pretty gross to see someone that's clearly intoxicated being taken advantage of and most likely not knowing what's going on. Later at 8:40, they begin to discuss tattoos, and Fuzi starts showing ones on his arms until he comments that the rest are on his legs and around his private region. She then comments that she has one there too. Fuzi without hesitation asks to see it and moves the camera away looking at it. This is when things take a dark turn, when she then begins opening up about her past being in the sex trade, and that the person that sent her was the tattoo of their name in her private area. He then asks if he can remove the tattoo for her as she doesn't have the money. He then sends her $300 via Cash App, and then just shows the phone to the camera, not paying attention to what she says, and only showing the viewers that he's doing a nice thing, even though he's most likely doing this in order to gain her trust. Later at 8:47, someone off camera calls Fuzi and leaves the camera for a few seconds.
I'll be right back. One second. I want to say hi to this person.
You're so sweet.
Babe. Sorry. I have a bad problem. I'm sorry. I won't do it again.
Then proceeds to come back with the same person stating that, "Sir, you can't do that." And he apologizes a few times and states that I have a problem and I won't do that again, and proceeds to ask what time her flight is. Not exactly sure if it was related to the situation he was in with this girl and that he was called over to stop being creepy and let her go, or it was for something else completely unrelated. As the stream goes on, he then shares her Cash App with his viewers to send her money, which is probably the only decent thing that you'll see this man do this entire stream. At 8:53, she begins to cry and she states that she feels bad for taking money from the viewers. Later at 9:03, she's still upset, talking about what she's going to do with the money, and Fuzi puts down his glasses. He then begins fake crying as she continues talking more about the situation that she's in, and he comments how strong she is and all that corny shit. Though you can tell he's fake crying, as if you look closely to his nose, it's not gushing red. Now when you cry, your nose tends to turn very red.
She has a long build-up to breaking down weeping on camera, and at several points she comes close to weeping, like she has tears in her eyes. But you'll notice her nose is bright red and flushed. So the tension in your nose running, this histamine reaction, if you like, centered in your nose, that normally happens long before you have tears coming out of your eyes. This is much more difficult for people to fake. A really great actor can fake it. The average crummy YouTuber cannot. They imitate the outward signs of weeping rather than the inner processes.
Now, if you look at the footage, you can tell his nose is the same shade of color throughout the whole time, before and during and after of him crying. But if we actually watch real footage of him crying, his nose is bright red. At 9:09, Fuzi then asks to talk and take her away from the camera and proceeds to make out with her for 3 minutes and comes back. He then asks the bartender to watch her stuff and turns the camera away to face him and states that he's only going to take her shopping to a convenience store for her flight. For privacy, I assume. though this makes little sense as he's already streamed her pouring her whole personal life out in front of thousands to see. To call for privacy now is really stupid and is mostly pointless. He then leaves for 10 minutes with the girl and comes back and says this.
Sorry. I just joined the Mile High Club. And I know it doesn't count as the Mile High Club because I was in the airport, but I still joined it. I swear to God. I swear on everything I love. I swear on everything I love. I just joined the Mile High Club in the airport, in the men's bathroom. I swear to God. Wallah, I had to confess. I couldn't hold it for a fucking second. I didn't go to buy her no fucking snacks. I joined the Mile High Club. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have shared that. I'm sorry.
He says all of this realizing now that he's left to thousands of viewers and being clipped that very second. He says it was a joke, but seeing how excited he was telling the chat moments before makes me really doubt he was joking. Later in the stream, he says that he feels bad for using her, and she doesn't understand at all that he made a bad joke. At 9:47, she leaves and tells her that he loves her and needs to text him. Trying to be nice, showing that his chat that he didn't do anything, but at 9:47, he states that he hopes that he handled that right.
I love you. I wish you the best. If you need anything, text me, and if I get to it, I'll reply, okay? Thank you. I want to kiss you back, but I can't. I hope I handled that right. I didn't touch her. I didn't lay a finger on her. I wanted to make out with her so bad. I wanted to grab her ass cheeks when I made out with her, but I didn't. I respect her. She's been through a lot, so we're gonna give her that.
And after all of that, the stream moves on. This whole thing was just very strange to watch, and it was not very fun to view or look into. I tried looking for who the girl was and what she thought about the whole situation sober, but I couldn't find anything, and looked at Fuzi's Insta following list as he asked for it and followed that account before in the stream, though I couldn't find anything that linked to her name or even her face. So I think it's just the best to leave her out of the situation as is, because it's pretty obvious that Fuzi did something to her, and her personal life is already bad enough, and just wants to be left out of it, not talking about it. Though we'll never truly know what he did do. As of right now, he has many other things going on with him, like being banned on Twitch for a separate incident, but genuinely going batshit crazy, doing many other horrible things. Aliens have been a popular topic on the internet, and many videos and photos have come out with supposed sightings and stories. Many of them are just obviously faked reviews and attention. But this one story that happened only a few months ago had the internet's attention with how strange the events have played out for claims of aliens. On July 11th, 2023, indigenous members of a small village were being attacked by something very strange. Many residents reported that they saw 7-foot-tall aliens lurking around and attacking the villagers. According to the New York Post, they said many speculated it was the face peelers, a local superstition, or green goblins. All Tonani locals reported seeing armed and floating 7-foot-tall aliens flying around, which some said were impervious to bullets and wore dark-colored hoods since mid-July. Ikitu community members have been injured and some hospitalized from attacks. The leader of the Ikitu indigenous people who live in the region was the first to call the men aliens, telling the radio station that they were being frightened by what was happening in the community. I have shot him twice and he does not fall, but rises and disappears. Now the authorities stepped in to protect the villagers, as many of them were actually being hurt, one of them being a 15-year-old girl with a bad neck injury. Now here's real footage where a supposed alien in hiding spotted by villagers. take a look at this screenshot of the supposed creature, though it's hard to see concretely because the footage is so low quality. But from the looks of it, there's a head, some strange torso, a single arm, and 2 legs attempting to hide. Unfortunately, the quality of the video is so dog shit, I can't make out anything else other than the strange creature being recorded. Now, obviously the footage taken is not of an alien. It looks like a plant. They are in a forest after all, but what's strange is what actually attacked them. Now, according to Peruvian authorities, they believe that the attackers were gold miners working for an illegal gang using jetpacks. Yeah, their alleged motive was covered by Daily Mail, and they had this to say: illegal gold mining crime syndicates are to blame. Branches of the stored drug cartels like Brazil's Oprimido Comando de Capital, Colombia's Clan de Golfo, FARC, and others who have ravaged Latin America for decades. Peru's National Prosecutor's Office, which is now investigating the aliens' attacks, has pointed fingers at these gold mafias who have been partly ejected from Brazil and Colombia by their militaries. Now, while doing research for this video, I found that some ordinary gamers actually cover this topic, and I just want to quickly put in a clip from one of his videos explaining why and how these mafia members do their extracting in Peru.
Insightcrime.org. I'm going to open this up in a new page just to show you that typically this is how the illegal gold mining chain works. You got illicit individuals, cartels, criminals who basically extract using machinery pieces of gold out of the soil and sediment. Mercury is used, leaving huge ponds in the middle of the rainforest. And of course, most of the areas affected by mining in the Peruvian Amazon are the departments of Puno, Cusco, and Madre de Dios. So of course, then you've got transportation down the river to local economic hubs, and then of course this is where they get sold. They get bought by collectors. They sell to international refineries. Then you transform and you commercialize.
Now in Peru, these jetpack flying gold cartels hope to inspire fear in their bizarre campaign of alien terror, according to prosecutors, keeping the locals in their homes and away from cartel illegal gold pits. So it seems the story just gets weirder and weirder the further you dig down. And unfortunately, there's been nothing else documented and or dug down into. We're just left with mafia members and fucking jetpacks. I really don't know a story about aliens or supposed alien footage turned into flying gold thieves harassing a local village near one of their gold mines. In my opinion, you can let me know what you think in the comments down below. I think nothing that was claimed in this story at all is of true or has a lot of holes in it. Well, actually it does. Like, why the fuck are mafia riding around with jetpacks if what they're trying to do is supposed to be in secret? And how do people conclude to aliens attacking a random village in the middle of nowhere? To me, this just seems very, I don't know, made up. I mean, a lot of shit's made up on the internet. Now, I thought to bring this story to you guys in this video because I thought it was a pretty, lighthearted ending compared to the last 2 topics we've covered, and just something interesting to cover anyway, because, well, it's highly bizarre. Though, the only really true disturbing thing about this story is whatever actually attacked these people, whether it's flying mafia members or maybe actually 7-foot-tall Green Goblin aliens, that these people are actually getting hurt, and I hope that they recover well. And, well, hopefully no one's actually killed, because nothing else has been really documented outside these, well, very highly bizarre stories and articles I've found while researching this part of the video. Though, it could be aliens after all, because, well, nowadays, anything is possible. Seriously. It's kind of been a crazy decade so far. Now this concludes the second part or episode of Disturbing Videos Found Around the Internet series. If you guys want me to continue this, just let me know in the comments down below. If you have stories or videos of your own that you want me to do a video on or add into the next part of this series, let me know, and see you next time.